wish I could say to my biological mother. The reason that I'm even making this note is because I was thinking about loss, and I was thinking about one of my friends who I'm pretty sure I am kind of having a falling out with, kind of, and it just made me sad, and just made me think about the pattern of repeated people who come in my life and go out. And as I was sitting here listening to sad music to entertain my sad mood, I was also thinking about the people I was thinking about the person who I lost from the very beginning. I don't want to throw a pity party for myself, but I do think it's important to acknowledge where your feelings come from and at the core of them, what they are telling you, and at the core of them, how you should respond to them and like how much you should lean into them. So I feel very familiar with loss and familiar with rejection, just having just having moved around a lot and grown up in several different places. The original the original um rejection, the original place where I felt the most rejected, the most lost, the most unknown is from my origin story, which is being born, like I always joke about, from an anonymous source, and being adopted as a result of that. There are so many, there's so many feelings, so many emotions. Sorry, same thing. There's so many emotions that I have related to adoption, and over time, I think I've gone from sadness and anger to optimism and realism to hurt and deep sadness to everything in between. I will never have just one feeling about my adoption because there can't just be one feeling assigned to something that has a gamut of emotions and a gamut of events that went into it. It's crazy. Whenever I talk about my adoption or whenever I talk about my potential family that I could have had, the only person who I think of is my biological mother. I don't like imagine having a biological father at all. I don't imagine having biological siblings. All I think about is just my biological mother because I think when you think of adoption or when you think of the circumstances that would have went into your adoption, you know that maybe like a biological father wasn't in the picture, but a biological mother definitely had to be. So the only reason that I think about a biological mother is because I know that that's like the one guaranteed person who would have been potentially in my life before I was adopted. Growing up adopted as a kid, you don't have a lot of complex feelings on adoption. I think ultimately it all could be summarized in I was either sad and hurt about it, um, or I was angry and felt rejection, or I was more optimistic and just kind of listened to the type of people that would tell me, like, aren't you glad that you're adopted? And then I would have that optimistic view of, like, yeah, it doesn't really matter about my origin story. This is my story now. I have an amazing adopted family. Like, this is my life, and I'm happy with it, and I don't regret where I am now. So, where I am now is all that matters, and where I was does not exist to me, you know? Like those were the feelings that I assigned to adoption when I was growing up. But um as as I'm now 23 years old, still very young, I recognize that. And I hope I can listen back to this in like 40 years. I I still feel the gamut of emotions that come from hurt and anger and optimism, but I also now have love for the situation that I was in as somebody who could get pregnant right now and who could possibly, like, could potentially have a child. My, what I'm thinking of is just the idea that I could have a child and potentially, although this is not in my plan, this will never be in my plan, I could have a child and potentially give birth to them and never see them again. What I would hope that child would know is that I love them very much, and that I would hope that they were living a life of abundance and happiness, and that whatever my circumstances were, I would hope that they know I did everything I could to make them, to give them happiness. So, as an adoptee to my biological mother, now, instead of just hurt, anger, and optimism, I I really hope that she has love, and I hope that no matter what the circumstances were that led up to me being given up for adoption, I really hope that she was loved, and I hope that she was okay with giving me up for adoption, and I hope that she knows that I ended up okay, like, regardless of why she did it, or regardless of if she's alive or if she's dead. I just hope that she knows that everything turned out okay. This is extremely difficult to talk about sometimes. Sometimes I just find like I can't I don't show any emotion related to it because I don't think too hard about it. But now, as somebody who has her whole entire life ahead of her and who could be potentially making life, there's so many things that go into it that I, wasn't even aware of before, wasn't even exposed to before as a child. But I really do hope that no matter what the circumstances were or are, that she's okay and she's happy, and that she knows that giving me up for adoption was hopefully the best thing for her and I, and that I'm okay with it, and that I'm so happy about where I ended up in life, because I am so happy. I have a husband who loves me. I have a family who raised me and cared for me, and I feel very intensely, and I'm very sensitive, and you know, I was reading somebody else's post about their biological mother who was also adopted, and she was saying how she never met her biological mother, but she could see her. Well, I don't know if she never met her biological mother, but she never really got to keep in contact. That she could see her biological mother in the mirror every day. And the things that I hope for my biological mother are, I hope that she was able to be, I feel like, as emotionally strong as I am, as emotionally in tune with herself as I am, because if she was able to express her emotions the same way that I am, and I feel as though it would have made life much easier, like being fully able to live in your emotions and to express them. I hope that she had, this is gonna sound really shallow, but it's something that I really do hope. I hope that I got my long, beautiful lashes from her. Those are like ways that I imagine that I can be connected to my biological mother, is just little things like imagining my biological traits and just imagining that they were hers as well, or are hers as well. I would even hope that she had a good relationship with her biological mother, which is also insane to think about. There are generations of people in my biological family. I hope that no matter what, everybody in my biological family is healed and okay and thriving and happy. Because when because as a young kid, I think it's so easy to say, how could you be happy without me? But now as an adult, I'm kind of just saying, I hope that you're happy, even if it's without me, because I hope that that was the best option for you and me. I am, as I'm growing, I'm realizing that life is much more complicated than my biological mother had me and left me. And I can focus on the idea that my biological mother had me, potentially wanted to keep me, just couldn't, and it just ended up that way by chance. And then wished the best for me, and now I have the best. It's great. It's good to be optimistic about the what ifs, because if I'm pessimistic about the what ifs, I can't fully heal, I can't fully forgive, and I want to heal and I want to forgive and I want to imagine that my that she is okay, and I would really hope that she's okay, and I really hope she forgives herself if she had any remorse, because I'm thankful for her and I love her. That's kind of what I would say to my biological mother.